Hello, this is Christina Callistuffin. I'm an associate professor of dermatology at the University of Utah. This talk is called Regulatory Alphabet Soup. All of these acronyms are things you need to know about before you start your research. This talk is intended as a primer, an overview of the things you need to do before conducting research here. They fall into the category of regulatory or ethical obligations, such as ethics training and declarations of conflict of interest, as well as other things you need to know, such as working with OSP for grant submission and various other things. Science is not intended to be done alone. It is a team sport, just like winning the Tour de France. So don't try to go it alone. You need to have a team. You may recognize this graph, the Frank-Starling curve, which is the relationship of stroke volume to end diastolic volume of the heart. Just like the heart, the quality, efficiency, and output of your research will improve with good planning. If you don't spend time planning, your research will suffer. If you don't plan and don't know about these things, you'll get caught saying things like, "What's an IRB? I didn't know that I need to submit that grant to OSP. I am out of compliance with clinicaltrials.gov," or "GCP training, what's that?" This training video was also made making the assumption that you already have the support of a mentor, support from your department or division, and you already have your research idea and research protocol. Before you conduct any human subject research, you need to submit your protocol to the University of Utah Institutional Review Board, or IRB, for review. The IRB reviews all research projects that involve humans to ensure they comply with local, state, and federal laws, as well as the high ethical standards set forth in university policy. Even if someone tells you your study could be exempt, you most likely need to submit it for review. But before you can do that, you have to do your human subjects research training. Everyone who does human research at the University of Utah must do human subjects research training. At Utah, you need to complete CITI, which is the Collaborative IRB Training Initiative, and GCP, or Good Clinical Practice Training, before conducting any research. To do this training, go to the IRB website, then select Training on the left-hand side of the page. Click on Collaborative IRB Training Initiative, create an account. Under My Learner Tools for the University of Utah, click Add a Course, and then you should see 3 trainings. Most residents only need to select Group 1, Biomedical Research Investigators and Key Personnel, and the Good Clinical Practice FDA Focus. Select these and complete them, then download or print your certificates. Be advised, each of these modules could take a few hours. Also know that if you've done CITI at another institution, you can use the certificate. It's good for 5 years. After 5 years, you do have to do the refresher course. Next, go back to the IRB site and register in Erica. Then send your certificates to the IRB by email or fax. Now you're registered in the IRB Erica site. Next, you need to do your potential COI reporting. Before you can conduct any research, you have to declare any relationships that could represent a conflict of interest in conducting your study. In Erica, click on the COI tab, then the Business Relationship Reporting, complete, and then hit Certify. If you or your spouse have taken personal payments for consulting, work for a for-profit company, own stock, or have intellectual property that's relevant to your research, you must declare this so the COI committee can determine if there's a potential conflict. If there is, then they will assist you in how to manage it. This has to be certified within the last 3 months before your IRB application is submitted and has to be done by everyone on your research team that's listed in the IRB application. Okay, now you're ready to do your IRB application. You or your research coordinators can put your research protocol into Erica for review. These are all the components of a research protocol that need to be included in the application. These include things like who will be conducting the research, what their roles will be, who's the sponsor, is it funded, where will it be conducted, what's the title and the objectives, why are you doing it with the background and rationale, what is the design, what is the population, what are the inclusion and exclusion criteria, is it a vulnerable population, how will you be conducting the research, how will you recruit, select, consent, do all research procedures, data and safety monitoring, and what is the statistical plan? How will you protect confidentiality and privacy? And all the documents from the consent to the company protocol, if there is one, advertisements, questionnaires, all these things need to go into Erica. There are many pages in the Erica application since there are so many possible components to every kind of research that's conducted here. The most important thing to remember, don't try to do this alone. Your department or division likely has research staff and coordinators who can help you do this. However, if you don't have someone to help you, the staff of the IRB can also be very helpful. Once your application is done and submitted, you and your team will get feedback and you likely will have to do some changes. Once it is approved, it doesn't end there. There are lots of things to know, like if and when your application needs to be renewed and how to do this. To get more information, RATS or Research Administration Training Series is available. Again, see the training portion on the IRB site. Next, let's talk about funding. Research is expensive. No one wants to work for free, including you, your staff, your department, your institution. Patients may want, need, or deserve reimbursement for their expenses. Funding also demands good planning. There are many sources of funds. As you develop your research plan with your mentor and your department, definitely ask about funding. There are funds available at the department and institutional level. Foundations often provide awards. The best advice I can give you about applying for a grant is to read the instructions. When is it due? What is needed in the application? Are you and your institution eligible? Can the institution charge overhead? When are the research results due? Do you need to submit a budget? There are many, many more questions to ask, but I think you get the picture. Last and very importantly, you need to involve our Office of Sponsored Projects, or OSP. The role of OSP is the effective and timely handling of research proposals. It's their job to help you prepare, interpret, negotiate, and execute agreements on behalf of the U for all funded projects and collaborations. If you have a hot idea for a patent or a business idea, or you're planning or sharing data or samples with others at another institution, then you'll need to work with TVC, or Technology and Venture Commercialization. You may need to get an MTA, a Material Transfer Agreement, if you're going to share data or samples. Are you conducting a clinical trial? If you are, you will likely need to register this on clinicaltrials.gov website. Our Clinical Research Compliance and Education Office can help you with this. Although we often think we need statisticians only when it comes time to analyze our data, it's actually very important to utilize them at the outset when designing your study. You can request these services and more at the SDBC. Just go to their website and request collaboration. Just to recap, you must do CITI, GCP training, and COI reporting before you can do any research at our institution. The IRB reviews applications entered into ERICA, and all applications must be approved before you can start. OSP and TVC can help you with collaboration and grant agreements, as well as with technology ventures. Statistical and study design help can be found at the SDBC. For more training, you can do RATS classes as needed. I hope this was helpful, and good luck.